What happens when a self-made CEO walks into one of his own stores undercover and catches a young worker crying alone in the break room? Eli O'Conner built his burger chain from a single food truck parked outside a college campus 15 years ago. He flipped every patty himself back then, took every order, cleaned every fryer. He knew every face that came by. Now, the company had grown 9 locations across the state, nearly 200 employees, and a corporate office he barely left anymore. But lately, something felt wrong. Customer reviews had slipped at a few stores, including one in Fremont. That store used to be one of the top performers. Now it had complaints about slow service, rude staff, and long wait times. The district manager, Darren, assured him it was just a young crew getting used to things. But Eli didn't like relying on filtered answers. So he shaved his beard, dyed his hair darker, and put on a pair of thick-rimmed glasses. He used a fake name, Ray, and applied to be a trainee at the Fremont location. Corporate handled the onboarding quietly. Since he'd never personally visited this store, no one there had ever met him. His disguise was solid. He showed up on a rainy Thursday morning, dressed in a plain uniform, cap low over his eyes. The manager, Lauren, barely looked at him when he walked in. "Ray, right? You're late," she muttered, checking her phone. It was 8:03. "Sorry, traffic," he replied, keeping his voice low. "Yeah, well, keep up or you'll get cut by next week," she said, spinning on her heel. "Follow Devin. He'll show you how to prep." Devin, a 20-something with a blank stare, led him to the back. The kitchen was loud, chaotic, and already short-staffed. They were down 2 people, and nobody seemed in a hurry to pick up the slack. Eli stayed quiet, learning the basics like a new hire should. But what hit him wasn't just the disorganization, it was the tension. No one smiled. Everyone looked tired. By noon, he was sweating. At 12:40, during the lunch rush, a customer came up to the counter with a complaint. "This burger's raw," she said, holding it up. Lauren didn't even apologize. "It's supposed to be medium," she snapped. "That's how we make them. It's pink and cold inside." "Then don't eat it." Lauren shrugged and tossed a napkin across the counter. The customer stormed off. Eli's stomach twisted. After the rush, Lauren barked at a teenage girl named Callie to mop the floor. Right this time, Callie looked maybe 17, skinny, quiet, and clearly nervous. When Callie disappeared into the back, Eli noticed she didn't come out. 15 minutes passed. He stepped toward the break room, pretending to look for a broom. That's when he heard a sound that made him stop cold. Crying. He pushed the door open slowly. Callie sat on a crate near the lockers, her face buried in her sleeves, shoulders shaking. Eli froze. He didn't speak at first. He just stood there, stunned by how small she looked in her oversized uniform. She wiped her eyes quickly when she saw him. "I am sorry," she said, trying to smile. "I'll get back out there." "You okay?" he asked, his voice gentler than he expected. She hesitated. Then she broke. "They're cutting my hours," she said, voice cracking. "They said I'm too slow. But I'm trying." Eli nodded, letting her talk. I need this job. My mom's sick. I'm paying part of the rent. And Lauren said she'll fire me if I mess up again." He stayed quiet, letting the words sink in. Then she added, almost in a whisper, "I asked for 1 weekend off. Just 1. My mom's chemo is on Friday." And Lauren said, "It's not my problem." Eli's jaw tightened. He couldn't speak, couldn't move. He knew the business had rules. He knew tight schedules, short staffs, and hard calls were part of the job. But this wasn't leadership. This was cruelty hiding behind a name tag. Callie stood up, brushing past him. "I'm fine," she said. "Forget it." But Eli didn't forget it. He went back to the kitchen, heart pounding, watching Lauren snap at another worker for taking too long with fries. Everything in him burned to say who he really was. But not yet. He needed to see more. Needed undeniable proof. Because when he finally spoke up, there would be no turning back. Eli arrived the next morning before sunrise. The dining area was dark. Chairs still flipped onto tables. The scent of fryer oil lingering thick in the air. He stood just outside the back entrance for a moment, listening. Inside, a voice was already barking orders. Get the register drawers in. Why is this taking so long? And don't forget to restock the sauces this time. Eli pushed the door open and stepped into the prep area. Lauren was pacing near the walk-in cooler, clipboard in hand, snapping her fingers at a young man sorting boxes of to-go cups. You're early, she said to Eli without looking up. Good. Start wiping down the booths before opening. Use the degreaser, not that lemon junk. She didn't ask if he knew where anything was. She didn't notice his knuckles were scraped from unloading crates the day before. And she didn't mention what had happened during Thursday's shift. Callie wasn't there yet. Eli kept his head down and got to work. Behind the counter, Devin stood with a headset on, pretending to test the drive-through speaker but mostly just scrolling on his phone. A timer beeped from the fryer. No one moved. By 11, the doors opened. Customers trickled in slowly at first, mostly construction workers and delivery drivers. Eli was stationed on grill, handling orders while Devin took the register. Lauren hovered behind them, arms crossed, correcting people mid-sentence. Don't ask them if they want fries, it's automatic. Upsell the drink size. And wipe that screen. It's disgusting. When Callie walked in late, her hair tied back messily, eyes puffy, Lauren zeroed in. You're 7 minutes behind, she said, tapping her watch. That's strike 2. I called ahead, Callie said quietly. I was at the pharmacy with my mom. I told. You think that excuses it? Lauren interrupted. I don't care if you're the mayor's daughter. Clock in. Callie didn't respond. She just slipped past the counter and into the kitchen. Eli glanced at her, but she avoided his eyes. 15 minutes later, the trickle became a rush. Eli moved fast, flipping patties, calling out orders. The heat from the grill soaked through his shirt. The only other person on line, Maya, a college student with a calm demeanor, was handling both the fryers and the wrap station. She didn't complain, didn't speak much, just kept moving. By noon, the lobby filled. One of the soda machines stopped working. A customer asked Devin for help. He waved a hand without looking up. It's busted. Try the other one. Or don't. Eli stepped in. Sir, we can refill that behind the counter if you want. On the house. Lauren shot him a look. We don't comp drinks, Ray. If they break, they break. The customer walked away, shaking his head. Eli felt something building in his chest like pressure behind his ribs, but he kept quiet. At 12:40, the line stretched to the door. A small girl, no older than 6, dropped her tray near the front. Food scattered. Her mom knelt down, trying to calm her as she started crying. Lauren turned to Maya. Go clean that up. I'm still on fries, Maya said, glancing at the timers. I said go. Eli looked at the blaring fryer, then at Maya's face. She backed away slowly, grabbed a rag, and crossed the lobby. The fries burned. Devin swore and shoved the basket aside, dumping the charred batch directly into the trash. We're out of fries now, he said flatly. We have another case in the freezer, Eli offered. Then go get it. Can you handle grill? Devin shrugged. Not my job. Eli left the line, grabbed the frozen box, and returned to a mess of missed orders and frustrated customers. One woman was yelling about her sandwich missing lettuce. Another said she'd waited 20 minutes. Then came the worst moment yet. A man in a blue jacket approached the counter, holding a receipt. "This says no onions. My daughter's allergic." Devin didn't even look up. "So scrape 'em off." Eli dropped the spatula. "I'll make you a new one," he said quickly. "Give me 5 minutes." The man stared at him, then turned to Lauren. "Is this how you train your staff? Are you trying to hurt people?" Lauren rolled her eyes. "We're busy. Mistakes happen. I'm calling your corporate office. Be my guest." Eli locked eyes with the man. "I promise you, sir, this will be addressed." As the man walked away, Eli stepped off the line. He turned to Devin. "Why didn't you remake the order?" Devin leaned back on the counter, arms folded. "I don't get paid enough to babysit allergies." Lauren didn't react. She just checked her phone again. That was it. Eli walked into the back, pulled off his cap, and stood in front of the camera mounted above the prep sink, the one that fed live footage to corporate HQ. He held up his ID badge, the real one. Then he turned around and walked back to the kitchen. "Everyone, step off line." Lauren stared. "Excuse me? I said get off the line. Now." Eli's voice didn't rise, but it carried weight. Even Maya stopped mid-rap. Callie looked confused. "What's happening?" Eli faced the team. "My name isn't Ray. I'm Eli O'Conner. I started this company 15 years ago. I've worked every station in this building. I came here undercover because I thought something was wrong. And I was right." Silence. Devin's mouth opened slightly, but he didn't speak. Eli turned to Lauren. "You're done. Take off your apron and leave. Right now." "You can't. You treated a kid like garbage for having a sick parent. You ignored a food allergy. You let your staff drown while you stood around doing nothing. You're not a manager. You're a liability." She didn't move. "If you don't leave, I'll have security escort you." Lauren slowly untied her apron, slammed it on the counter, and walked out without a word. Eli turned to Devin. "You either apologize to every person you disrespected today, or you're gone too." Devin looked at the floor. "I wasn't trying to, not a debate. Decide." Maya stepped forward. "Do you want me to call someone from corporate? We're gonna be short without them." "We'll manage for now," Eli said. "I've got an apron. Let's get through the rush." Callie still hadn't moved. Her eyes were wide, stunned. Eli gave her a small nod. "Take 5 minutes. Drink some water. You're not going anywhere." She stepped out slowly, dazed, brushing her face with her sleeve. Eli turned back to the grill, tied on a clean apron, and picked up the spatula. "Let's fix this." He didn't say much after that. He just worked, wrapping orders, checking temperatures, wiping counters, thanking customers as they left. Maya kept pace beside him, calm and efficient. Callie returned with her hair pulled back tighter, standing at register with a new focus. The energy in the room shifted slightly, not perfect, but lighter, real. By 2:30, the line was gone. The restaurant was quiet again. Eli leaned against the prep table, sweat cooling on his back. He looked at the team. "Tomorrow we talk about changes. Real ones. But for now, thank you." Maya gave a short nod. Callie managed the tiniest smile. Outside, the sun was breaking through the clouds. And for the first time in weeks, Eli felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Pride. Not in the brand. In the people. By the time Eli walked back into the Fremont store the next morning, the air was different. It wasn't relaxed, far from it, but it was clearer. Like the pressure had shifted just slightly off everyone's shoulders. Maya was already behind the prep table, tying her apron with quiet efficiency. Callie stood near the register, focused on entering inventory counts into the terminal. Neither said much when he arrived, and he didn't expect them to. He stepped into the office, now empty of Lauren's clutter, and sat down to sort through the weekly labor reports. The numbers told their own story. Scheduled hours spread too thin. Most shifts running with only 3 or 4 people on duty, sales dipping week over week. There were discrepancies too. Time cards edited post-shift, overtime removed, and shift notes missing entirely on weekends. He picked up the phone. By 9, corporate HR had dispatched an internal auditor to review the timekeeping system. Eli wasn't going to let this turn into a legal mess, but he wasn't going to ignore it either. If employees had been clocked out early or denied pay, it needed to be fixed fast. He stepped back out onto the floor. "Callie," he said, "can you come with me for a minute?" She turned, eyes cautious. "I'm not in trouble," she asked, quiet but direct. "No, just need your help with something." He led her to the back hallway, away from the prep noise. "I read through the schedule history," he said. "You were taken off 3 Sundays last month and had your hours reduced twice. No performance notes, no explanation." She nodded, but didn't speak. "Did Lauren ever mention why?" "She said I was lucky to still be on the roster," she said. "Said she didn't need emotional types on her team." Eli's jaw locked. "Did she ever say that in front of other employees?" Callie nodded. "Maya, Devin. And once when a driver came in early. That was enough." He didn't press further. He just thanked her, then returned to the office and documented everything. At 10:30, a replacement manager arrived from the downtown location. Andrea, someone Eli had worked with years ago. Tough-minded, calm under pressure, and known for running a tight but fair shift. She stepped into the building with her sleeves already rolled up. "Walk me through the situation," she said, not wasting time. Eli brought her up to speed, scheduling gaps, morale collapse, procedural breakdowns, and handed her the keys. "Temporary for now," he said. "But if you can stabilize this place, we'll talk permanent." She nodded once. "Let me see how they run." By 11, the lunch crowd started to build again. Andrea didn't make a big show of authority. She just stepped in where needed, paired Callie with Maya at the front, and rotated Eli onto Fryer. The difference was immediate. Orders moved faster, questions got answered, and when a man asked for a specific bun due to dietary restrictions, Andrea confirmed the ingredients herself instead of brushing it off. At 12:15, a delivery driver entered through the back and handed Eli a clipboard. "Frozen patties, fry oil, napkins," the driver said. "Same as usual." Eli signed the sheet, then paused. "You ever deliver here when Lauren was managing?" The driver nodded, eyes narrowing slightly. "Every Thursday. Anything stand out to you?" The man hesitated, then leaned in. "She used to make me leave stuff outside the door. Wouldn't open the back until she felt like it. Once I waited 20 minutes while she yelled at someone on the phone." "Did she ever sign for anything that wasn't delivered?" He shook his head. "No, but she once told me not to mark something short when we were missing a box of buns. Said she'd handle it internally." Eli made a mental note. He'd bring that to audit. At 1:15, a man in a pressed polo shirt and mirrored sunglasses stepped through the front door. Eli recognized him immediately. Darren, the district manager. The one who had brushed off the reports in the first place. Darren strutted in like he owned the place, offering a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Morning, team," he called out. "Heard we had a little shake-up." Andrea walked out from the kitchen, wiping her hands. "We're handling it," she said. "Everything's under control." Darren's eyes landed on Eli, confused. "Ray, right?" Eli stepped forward, calm but firm. "We need to talk. Office. Now." Darren blinked. "Who are you two?" "I'm Eli O'Conner." The color drained from Darren's face. Eli, I didn't recognize you." "Office," Eli repeated. Inside, behind the closed door, Eli didn't yell. He didn't need to. He opened a manila folder and set it on the desk. "Time card manipulation," employee intimidation, food safety violations, and a complete absence of oversight from you. Darren's voice dropped to a whisper. I didn't know it was that bad. You visited this store 4 times last month. I mean, sure, but Lauren, you defended her. She hit her targets. Labor costs were down. Orders were moving. Because people were being pushed out, not trained. Because hours were being cut with no documentation. Because a 17-year-old was forced to choose between her job and her mother's chemo. Darren opened his mouth, then closed it. Eli leaned forward. You're done. Clean out your office today. HR will handle your exit. Darren exhaled slowly, like air leaking from a balloon. I made mistakes. You ignored people suffering because the numbers looked clean. That's not a mistake. That's neglect. Darren left quietly. Eli stepped back onto the floor and didn't say a word about it. He just washed his hands, grabbed a prep knife, and joined Maya at the sandwich station. They worked through the rest of the rush in silence, the rhythm of the line steady and focused. The three, Callie approached him near the back sink. I don't know what's going to happen, she said, but I'm really glad you came. Eli nodded, wiping his hands on a towel. We're not done. But we're going to fix it. She looked down, then back up. Are we keeping Andrea? Depends if she wants the store. Hope she does, Callie said. She listens. That night, before leaving, Eli gathered the remaining team in the dining area. No chairs, just people standing in a loose circle under the dim ceiling lights. I made a mistake, he said. I let this place fall through the cracks. That's on me. No one interrupted. I went undercover to understand what was going wrong. I saw people being mistreated. I saw others doing 3 jobs without thanks. That ends now. He turned to Maya. You held this place together. You trained yourself. You filled gaps without complaint. Starting Monday, you're officially promoted to shift lead. Maya blinked once. Thank you. Your pay goes up. Full benefits. And if you want to pursue management, we'll sponsor your courses. She nodded, lips pressed tight. He turned to Callie. You deserve to work in a place that treats you like a human being. Your schedule will reflect your availability from now on. No more threats. No more guilt. Callie's voice was barely audible. Okay. And if you ever hear someone being talked down to again, anyone, you come straight to me. Andrea crossed her arms, watching the group. Eli looked around at the team. We lost good people because of bad leadership. That won't happen again. We're rebuilding this store from the ground up. No shortcuts. No silence. If you're here, you matter. Nobody clapped. Nobody cheered. But they stood a little straighter. That was enough. Outside, the parking lot emptied slowly. Dusk set in, the orange sky casting long shadows over the sidewalk. Inside, the lights stayed on late. Eli sat near the prep station with Andrea, going over tomorrow's roster, 1 shift at a time. No more guessing. No more assumptions. Just the work done right, with eyes open. 2 weeks after Eli revealed his identity, the Fremont store was still running at half capacity. A few shifts were being covered by staff borrowed from other locations, but it wasn't enough to fill every gap. Eli knew that rebuilding wouldn't be fast. What mattered now was doing it right. Andrea had stepped in as interim general manager and agreed to stay on while corporate opened the hiring process for the permanent role. She didn't promise miracles. She promised structure. On Tuesday morning, the team gathered before the doors opened. No clipboard, no shouting, just a quiet meeting near the drink station. Eli stood beside Andrea, hands in his jacket pockets. We're not doing a relaunch, Andrea said. We're not throwing balloons on the windows. This isn't about appearances. It's about setting standards. She turned to a young man on her left, new to the team, barely a week in. Tarek, you're on prep today. I'll walk you through the steps. Don't skip anything. If you're unsure, say so. Then she looked to the others. If anyone sees something wrong, speak up. This isn't about blame. It's about not letting problems rot. When the doors opened, Eli didn't stay in the office. He worked the line with Maya, whose quiet confidence had turned into something steadier. She didn't hesitate now when she gave direction, and the others followed without pushback. Callie handled the register. Her voice was louder than it had been, but not forced. She moved carefully, still a little guarded, but not withdrawn. She made fewer errors now, and when she did, she fixed them herself without retreating into apology. During a lull, Eli stepped outside, phone at his ear. Payroll adjustments have been processed. The voice on the other end confirmed. Back pay for all impacted staff will hit by Friday. And the exit paperwork for Darren? Filed. HR reviewed the documentation. No appeals. Eli hung up and walked back in. He didn't tell anyone about the call. It wasn't for show. By Thursday, Andrea had posted the new training schedule. Each shift now had a structured rotation, with one person always dedicated to mentoring newer hires. No one was allowed to run a station alone until they were certified on it twice. It slowed things down, but it also stopped the constant panic. On Friday, Eli asked Callie to clock out an hour early and join him in the back. She hesitated until Maya nodded once. They sat across from each other at the prep table, a quiet hum from the ceiling fan above them. "You've got good instincts," Eli said. "You read people fast. You don't get distracted by noise." Callie looked down at her hands. "I still get nervous. Nerves aren't weakness. It means you care." She stayed quiet. "You ever think about team-led?" Her eyes flicked up. "Me? You're already doing parts of it. You just don't have the title yet." "I don't think I'm ready." "You don't have to be ready today, but I want you in training next month. We'll set you up with someone from another store. Somewhere neutral. You'll shadow. Ask questions. Try things out." Callie nodded slowly. "You're not here by accident," Eli said. "And you're not invisible anymore." That night, after close, Eli stayed behind to help mop. Andrea was tallying the day's receipts when she looked up. "I told you, you don't have to keep coming back." "I know," he said, pushing the mop bucket forward. "But I also know what happens when I stop showing up." She leaned back in her chair. "You're not trying to fix every store this way, are you?" "No, just this one. For now." She studied him for a second. "You're not here for the numbers." "No," he said. "I'm here because I nearly lost the kind of business I swore I'd never become." He didn't elaborate. He didn't need to. Over the weekend, a new hire named Simone joined the team. She was sharp, quick with customer interactions, and already fluent in the POS system from her last job. But midway through her second shift, Eli noticed something off. After a group of teenagers came in and placed a large order, Simone walked back to the prep line. "I'm not taking that next table," she said. "They're gonna cause trouble." Maya glanced over. "They haven't done anything. They don't need to." "I've seen this before." Eli stepped out from behind the grill. "What exactly do you mean?" Simone hesitated. "Just saying they're loud. They're probably gonna try to get free food." "I've seen it." Eli walked past her and approached the table. The teens were laughing, joking with each other, waiting for their order. Nothing unusual. Nothing inappropriate. He returned to the counter. "You're done for the day," he said quietly to Simone. "Clock out." "Why?" "You made a judgment call without evidence, based on how someone looked or sounded. That's not how this place runs." "It wasn't like that. You profiled a group of kids in under 30 seconds and assumed they were trouble. That's a problem." "I didn't mean..." "You don't have to explain it. You just have to leave. Simone stared at him, stunned, but didn't argue. She clocked out and walked out the back door. Andrea didn't ask questions. She just moved someone else to the register and kept the line moving. On Monday morning, Eli sat in the small upstairs office, drafting a memo. Subject line: hiring criteria and conduct standards, immediate enforcement. He laid out the expectations in plain language. No gray areas. No soft language. Behavioral red flags wouldn't be tolerated. Discrimination in any form would result in immediate removal. All staff would undergo a new training module within the month. He sent it to every store manager, every district lead, and the executive team. Afterward, he sat back in the chair, looking out the narrow window that overlooked the parking lot. A father and daughter walked toward the entrance, both holding hands. Eli watched as Maya opened the door for them before they reached it. Later that afternoon, a handwritten note appeared in the break room. No signature, just a piece of paper taped above the sink. It read, "Keep the floor clean. Keep your head up. And if someone tells you they're drowning, don't hand them a mop." Nobody asked who wrote it. Nobody needed to. That night, Eli left the store quietly. No speech. No meeting. He got in his car, rolled down the window, and listened to the faint sounds of the kitchen still alive behind him. He didn't need to be seen anymore. He just needed to know they were watching out for each other now. And they were.